Hey, and welcome to the shocking truth about female fat loss. So look, why are we here? So first off, I'm guessing that you're actually watching this presentation for maybe one of these reasons. You're most probably frustrated with not getting the results that you have been hoping for, doing whatever it is you've been doing up to now. You're probably bored of whatever it is you've been doing up to now as well. So if you've been, doing exercise classes that have been boring you, or maybe your dieting has been boring you, or you've been, following a specific walking or running or spinning program or something which has been boring you. Okay. Chances are most probably you're actually fed up of feeling fed up, to be honest. Fed up with, just obviously, again, not getting the results that you kind of want and deserve. Fed up of waking up in the morning lacking energy. Fed up of just getting knackered throughout the day. Fed up of that, that horrible bloated feeling that you get when you know that something's not quite right, but you kind of can't put your finger on it. Okay, you're going to be fed up of a pile of things like that. Chances are you're actually going to be really confused as well. Now, there's so much information out there with regard to fat loss in general, and obviously specifically for females as well. And it really is hard to kind of filter out the rubbish from the good stuff. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you're actually confused. And what we're going to do today is actually try and take that confusion away from you. All right, you're most probably also watching this because you want to be educated. You actually want to find out how, the kind of facts and I guess fallacies of actual kind of fat loss when it comes to being a female. So you actually do want to be educated and find out exactly what it is that you do need to do, what is actually going to work for you. Okay. One of the biggest things is you actually probably want to look, no probably about it, you do want to look, feel and perform better. Everyone does, myself included. And you're also here because you're ready to take action, okay, and get the body that you deserve. Believe it or not, everybody does deserve to have a good body. If you're willing to sort of put the work in and put a bit of time in, you really do deserve to have the body that you want to wear, feel confident and comfortable wearing, okay? And you're probably also here because no one's actually done this for you before. Okay, no one's actually specifically given you the information that you need in this kind of format. So that's probably one of the big reasons that you're actually going to be watching this right now. So look, I'm just going to give you a mega quick overview of who I am. In a nutshell, I did kind of college and school in Weymouth and went off to university and did a sports degree. Set up a personal training business down in Weymouth after that. Started out doing in-home personal training, followed by some stuff working out of a gym. Most recently, I've actually opened up my own studio down here in Weymouth. So I've actually got a private training facility here, which is great. I also run Weymouth Fitness Camp, which is a guaranteed results fitness camp down in Weymouth, hence the name. In addition to that, we also run the Fit Mums Club, which is a program specifically for mums, helping mums get into shape. I also do a fair bit of triathlon and endurance sports coaching. Those sorts of sports are actually my kind of favourite pastime, I guess. Sort of outside of actual work, and I actually do coach other athletes as well, which is great fun. I spend probably about £8,000 a year on my education, which has seen me go off to Florida to work with a guy called Carlos Santana, who's pretty much the go-to guy for functional training. I went off to Thailand actually about a year or so ago to work with a bloke called Dax Moy, who's actually again the kind of go-to guy, but within the UK as kind of like the top sort of fat loss expert within the UK, and that guy charges a serious amount of money, so it's great to have been able to go over there and spend some time learning from him. I'm also off to Spain very soon to work with another one of my mentors, Paul Mort, who's another one of the top fat loss experts within the UK health and fitness scene. So that's going to be pretty cool as well. Within my area, I'm actually the only guaranteed results personal trainer. The only person who actually guarantees that people are going to get the result, or actually I basically give people their money back if they don't get a result. That's the same on the fitness camp. Needless to say, I've not actually had to give anyone their money back to date, because what we do actually works extremely well and is very, very replicable. And I'm actually going to be teaching you all the kind of secrets of that today. In a nutshell, I've kind of helped well over 1,000 people, and in fact last year alone I helped over 1,000 people just in that year to drop literally thousands of pounds of fat. And bottom line is, I absolutely love what I do. I love getting people results. I love helping people get from A to Z in terms of their their health and fitness mission, and I really do enjoy the work that I do, which is cool. So look, this is actually, I thought I'd just show you a couple of pictures. This is actually one of the ladies who I'm training at the moment. This woman, excuse me, is actually training for an Ironman, believe it or not. I'm actually running a couch potato to Ironman program, where I've taken a few people who are in, who were in, pretty poor shape, and I'm actually training them for free for a whole 10 or 11 months to actually compete in an Ironman event. The purpose of that is to pretty much prove that just about anyone can do just about anything. So I've actually taken 4 people who are really out of shape, and I'm getting them to do a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile on the bike, and then I'm running a marathon at the end of it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so this is one of the ladies who's actually doing that, and you can see just how well she's getting on. Okay, this is actually the lady who did one of my 19-day online program. You can see this lady here has made an massive impact on the way she kind of looks, and also is actually obviously feeling a whole lot better right now as well. You can just see the massive difference, in particular within the tummy area there, and I'm actually going to be talking to you about all that sort of stuff today. Okay, and then this is one of the ladies from fitness camp, who that was in her, I think that was her first 28 days there. You can see she's got pretty outstanding results there, in particular around kind of the love handle area, and again, that's something I'll be chatting to you about coming up. So look, don't worry about the golden rules, because we're kind of well, don't worry about turning your mobile off, sorry, because we're obviously watching this on a video, but you do need to understand I'm not actually preaching. Everything I'm talking to you about today is stuff that is tried and tested. It's things that I actually do right now with people that pay me quite a lot of money, and this is all stuff that I'm doing which works extremely well. I'm not preaching to you. I'm not trying to convert you from doing whatever it is you're doing now to doing the sort of thing I'm telling you will work. But I really do just want you to keep an open mind and actually kind of enjoy what we're going to be talking about here. Okay, the biggest thing is to kind of listen, learn, and provided you leave this kind of online seminar better off for having come to it, then I'm going to be a pretty happy guy. So look, the master plan, here's what we're actually going to go through. I'm going to start off talking about why up to now you've not actually got the results that you've actually wanted, okay? So on that, we're actually going to touch on calorie counting, going to look at exercise classes, why they're perhaps not the best thing for you. Been looking at the gym as well, and whatever training you've been doing in the gym. We're then actually going to look at running and walking, okay, and why that's not actually helped you to date. And then actually just a bit of a look at nutrition as well. Don't worry about the break, because that'll actually be this will kind of be where the end of this seminar will be, okay? And in the next section, we're actually going to be looking at a pile of other stuff. So in the next part of this seminar, we're actually going to be looking at the hierarchy of fat loss, the why factor, okay? So why it is that you actually want to get whatever it is you want to get, and then if you still want more information after that, I'm actually going to tell you how you can nuke fat from your belly, from your bum and your legs, and from your love handles as well. So that's going to be coming up in part 2 of the seminar. Okay, so look, let's just check out why it is that what you've done so far has basically not worked. Okay, so I'm not going to go into massive detail on any of these things, really. I just want to kind of give you a bit of an overview and just give you a couple of reasons why a couple of these things which you've tried to date, or may well have tried to date, haven't actually got the job done. So calorie count is one of the biggest things that people do. A lot of sort of diet clubs and weight loss groups and all that sort of thing actually do put quite a big focus on your calories in versus calorie out. But what actually is a calorie? Well, it's actually the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 cubic centimeter of water by 1 degree Celsius. All sounds pretty complex. Kilocalorie is the same thing, but for a kilogram of water, to raise a kilogram of water by 1 degree itself. Okay, cool. So kilocalories, they're the ones that you'll actually see on the back of your food generally. Okay, so the reason calories in versus calories out isn't actually the kind of greatest method to actual getting in shape and fat loss, well, there's actually a part of them, but I've just listed a few there. So you've actually all got individual differences. Every person is different, okay? We've all got a different sort of biochemical makeup. We've all got different amounts of muscle mass, different amounts of fat tissue. We all process foods in different ways, okay? Some of us are better at using protein, some of us are better at using carbs, some of us are better at using fats. We've got so many individual differences, okay? We then look at the macronutrient content, okay? So looking at your protein, your carbohydrate and fat content of foods, okay? And we'll look at a good example of that in a moment. But basically, your body's going to deal with 1,000 calories of, like sandwich. A lot different to it's going to deal with 1,000 calories of, say, I don't know, vegetables or something like that, okay? That'd be a lot of vegetables, by the way. The micronutrient content as well. So looking at the vitamins and minerals there as well. So they're going to have a big effect on actually how your body actually is able to deal with the calories there as well. The insulin response is one of the big ones as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go on, and in particular when we look at the whole love handle thing as well. And then, of course, we've got the thermic effect of food. Now, basically, when you eat something, okay, your body is going to obviously burn the calories. It's going to use calories to burn the food, okay? And different types of food take a different number of calories to burn them, to utilize them and process them and all that stuff. Now, interestingly, if I was to eat if I was to eat like 100 calories of protein, around 30% of those, so about 30 calories of that protein, is actually going to be used to digest it, to actually use it, okay, within the body. So really, that 100 calories is only actually kind of cost me 70, okay? When it comes to carbs, it's actually about 10%, okay? So if I ate 100 calories of carbs, about 90% of that is actually, it's going to actually cost me about 90%, because about 10% of that is actually going to get used to break them down and burn them and all that sort of stuff. And when it comes to fats, it's actually 5%, okay? So if I'm going to eat some fats, about 5% of the calories there are actually going to get used to break it down and do whatever, okay? Which means that of that, if I eat 100 calories of protein, okay, about 70, that's going to cost me about 70 calories, basically. If I eat 100 of carbs, that's going to cost me about 90. If I eat 100 of fat, that's going to cost me about 95. So your body's going to be dealing with these things in different ways. All right, so in a nutshell, a calorie isn't always, no, it's not always, it's not just a calorie, okay? Now, I should have just gone over this example just at the start, and that would kind of bang it out the water straight off. But if I was to eat 1,500 calories of spinach, okay, and my girlfriend was to eat 1,500 calories of mini eggs, is that the same thing? I think you're already shaking your head, okay? We probably don't need to go over that anymore, okay? Basically, the mini eggs there are going to have a completely different effect within your body. In particular, you've got a high kind of saturated fat content. You've got a high sugar content in there, which is going to make have a massive impact on your blood sugar levels and your insulin levels, and going to cause a whole pile of problems, which the 1,500 calories of spinach just isn't going to cause. Okay, exercise classes. Now, this is the one where you might think it might touch a nerve of a couple of people, but to be honest, I don't really mind. As I said before, I'm not preaching on any of these things. And if you do these things, then great. What I'm actually going to talk to you about now is actually why these things perhaps aren't actually doing you all that amount of good on your mission to lose fat, in particular from certain parts of your body. Now, I've not actually going to go through every single one of these, but we'll just have a kind of a look at a couple of them as we do go through. Okay. Cool. So spinning. Now, a lot of people do spinning, and that's fine. I do a lot of cycling myself. I don't ever go spinning, but I do a lot of cycling myself. Spinning's not actually the be all and end all when it comes to fat loss. A lot of people will come to me either from they come and train me at fitness camp or privately or semi-privately, and when they start off, I'll ask them what they're doing. They say, "Oh, I go spinning sort of 3 or 4 times a week," and then I ask them how are you getting on with that? Yeah, it's fine. I enjoy it. But I've just not got the results doing it. Okay, and one of the reasons that you perhaps aren't getting the great results going spinning is that if you're constantly, sort of regularly spinning at a high speed but low resistance, okay, that's kind of like cycling downhill. Now, cycling downhill should be easy, all right? Now, you'll know that feeling if you're on a spin bike and you're kind of pedaling like really fast, but there's not a great deal of resistance. It's yeah, as I said, it's kind of like if you're cycling downhill, when you're kind of, I guess it's kind of like if you can't out pedal the hill. Okay, so you may be pedaling as quick as you can, but there's just, you're not putting any resistance or any power through the pedals there. Now, that should be easy, okay? So you'd think that should be easy because there's not much resistance. But what actually happens is that actually tricks the legs into thinking that they're tired when they're really not actually that tired. And now your body kind of realizes it because it's actually pretty clever, and it kind of realizes that it actually needs a source of fuel readily available within your legs. So what it actually does is it stores fat within your legs, which is this intramuscular fat. Okay, so in particular, that is why you will typically, well, not typically, but quite a lot of the time, you'll see spin instructors and a lot of people that go spinning have often got, fat bums and legs, okay, or certainly bigger than perhaps they'd like. Okay, so that's a little thing on spinning. Okay, this was actually a lady who came to me a little while ago for private training. You can see the impact we've had with her, and I think that's about 5 or 6 weeks there. Basically, this lady was actually spinning, I think 5, maybe 6 days a week or something like that. I don't think she actually enjoyed it too much, but what I actually did on her program was the first thing I said was we got to cut that out. So I actually slashed her spinning, and I said, look, here's the main bulk of your training is going to be resistance-based work. So I actually had she was seeing me twice a week in the studio, okay, for metabolic resistance training, and then she'd have another 2 circuit-based workouts to do at home just with body weight in her own time. I think they took about 20 or 30 minutes, something along those lines. Okay, and then I kind of kept one spin session in there just because she liked the whole social aspect and things, and that's fine, great, okay, cool. So that's what we did. That's what happened on the program, and you can see the results. They were pretty bloody epic. Okay, exercise classes. Now, exercise classes, real hit and miss. I've run them myself in the past, where people come along and pay a £5, and then you'll either see them next week or you don't. I used to do that. I don't do anything that's pay as you go anymore, simply because it doesn't get results. My man on the right there, that's Paul Mort, who is, as I said, one of my mentors. And his definition of this is one of the ones I really like, which is just random people doing random exercises in a random order. Okay, so if you've ever been to a circuit class, you probably find that one of the one of the things that a lot of instructors market it as is being completely different every week, or every session's completely different. Come and try this session, never the same. It's always a unique session. Now, that's not always a good thing, okay? Yes, it's good to vary things, but you do need some consistency. Now, if you don't have a structure to the training, okay, if the training program's not actually structured, you're not actually going to be able to get any sort of progression in there, which means you're actually not going to get the results, okay? Now, one of the biggest things with sort of going to a circuit class or something like that is, or legs, bums and tums or whatever, is that there's no real accountability. If you've ever been to something like that, I've been guilty of it myself when I first started out, when I was doing like a pay and you go class, so I'm speaking firsthand. Okay, I'm not just sort of willy-nilly slating anything like that. But if you go to a class, maybe on a Tuesday night or something, and you go and have you'll have a decent workout, and then maybe the next week you can't make it, so you're not actually going to get to that class the next week for whatever reason, or maybe you can make it, you just can't be asked to get there. Okay, you've kind of got that whole, a bit sporadic in nature in terms of your actual attendance to actually going to something like that. Now, if you're not actually being consistent and not going to a session regularly, or not going to a program regularly, then you're not going to get not going to be able to progress. We kind of touched on that already. Now, even the best instructor in the world, with given the best program in the world, isn't going to be able to get you a result if you're not kind of going to anything regularly, or actually I said attending it properly. in addition to all that sort of stuff, I mean, if you go to like a circuit class or something like that, you go there, pay your £5. Yep, thanks. See you next week. You're not actually going to get anything from your trainer in between sessions. Generally, I mean, they're not going to sort your nutrition out. They're not going to, you're generally not going to have things to do in your own time or something in between. So, for all they know, and for all you know, which you might actually think is going to work, you might literally just be going to that one session a week and then nothing else. And then the last little thing on here as well is if you're training too hard, too often, for too long, you're actually going to cause too much stress on your body, which isn't going to give you results. And in fact, it'll probably have a worse impact on your body than perhaps not actually going to it and maybe just going out for a walk for half an hour. So it's really important to know that the key to getting in shape isn't about just going and getting absolutely hammered by an instructor. Okay, a good instructor, a good trainer, wherever they are, whoever they are, should know or will know that it's not all about hammering people. Okay, you need to kind of know when to go hard, because you do need to go hard at times and need to work intensely, but they also need to know when to ease off in order to actually make sure that you're going to get the results. Okay, next thing, step classes, dance classes, and things like Zumba. Now, again, like with everything else, I've not got a problem with any of these things. They're all great, and as far as I'm concerned, activity is good. Now, if you're training for fat loss, though, something like this generally isn't actually going to get you the result. Okay, things like sort of stepping and dancing and Zumba are great if you like that sort of thing, but they're not actually going to give you the biggest metabolic effect within your body. Okay, so what that means is if you go and take part in a class like that, yeah, it's going to be great and you'll enjoy it and everything. You'll burn a few calories and have a good time while you're there, but your body's not actually going to have to do that much after the session to bring itself back to its kind of normal state, which means that you're not actually going to be elevating your metabolism for that much after the session. Whereas if you were doing something that was maybe strength based, like resistance training, for instance, you're actually going to be causing quite a big impact within your body, and your body's actually going to be needing to burn a whole lot of calories to actually kind of bring itself back to its normal state up to about sort of 24 to 48 hours after the workout. Okay, and classes like this, they're not actually looking to create lean tissue, so they're not actually going to build you any muscle. Now, you're obviously a woman, but you're not, and a lot of women actually do worry about getting stacked and putting on loads of muscle, but you're not actually going to put on loads of muscle if you do something like some resistance training. Okay, yes, you'll put on a little bit, and you get a lot more, you get more defined and more toned, and generally in a lot better shape, but you're not going to get stacked. You're not going to end up looking like the Incredible Hulk. Now, you need to be building some lean muscle, some lean tissue, in order to elevate your metabolism, okay, so that you're actually burning a whole lot more calories, okay, throughout the day. If you could do a workout which was going to maybe make you burn, just 10 or 20 calories an hour every hour extra, then you can see straight away that's going to be a whole lot of fat that you're going to burn for free, after the workout. So that's pretty cool. But as I said, look, if you enjoy stuff like this, then that's great. But just go and do it because you enjoy it, not because you think it's going to get you in awesome shape. All right, the gym. Okay, this is a big one. A lot of people who come and train me actually, they already go to the gym. Okay, but they just don't know what to do. And when I see people in the gym, or when someone actually tells them what they've been doing, it kind of a lot of the time looks like this. So they might do an hour doing steady state cardio while chatting to their mate. And this probably sounds familiar to you as well if you've been to the gym. So I can probably guess you're nodding your head about now. Maybe 10 minutes random machine weights, some pushes, some pulls, and something like that. Maybe some leg pressing, really nice and light weights. Maybe hang out at the water fountain for 5 minutes, again having a bit more of a chat. 10 minutes sit-ups at the end, maybe a bit of texting, and then sort of 5 minutes stretching. All of a sudden, you've been in that gym 100 minutes, and you've just wasted 100 minutes of your life, pretty much, okay? Yes, you've gone in there, you've done a little bit of activity, you've had a social experience, blah, 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 blah. But what you could have actually done is gone in there, banged out a decent workout for 20 or 30 minutes, elevated your metabolism for, a day or two after you finished the workout, workout and actually got a whole lot more bang for your buck. Okay, so if that sounds familiar for you, familiar to you, then you're probably kind of way off the mark at the moment with that type of training. Now, one of the things a lot of people also think is that more equals better. Now, when it comes to training, more is not always better. Yes, if you're doing nothing, you do need to do a bit more. But, a lot of the time, more isn't actually better. If you're actually doing too much training or spending too much time in the gym or out running or something, you're actually going to have a negative effect on your fat burning hormones, okay, which obviously isn't what you want to do. So look, what about running and walking? We're talking primarily here about kind of steady state cardio. You could chuck like cycling in here as well, I guess. But especially when it comes to running, if you're doing it for fat loss, and chances are you probably don't actually like it. Now, a lot of people will actually embark on a fat loss or a weight loss mission, and they'll think, right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and start running. I'm going to go and start running with my friend because that's the done thing to lose a bit of weight. But here's the thing: if you don't like it, don't do it. All right, running isn't actually going to get that metabolic rate up much beyond the time you actually stop training. Okay, so it's if you go out and bang like half an hour run, then again, your body's not actually going to have to do all that much to kind of bring itself back down to normal. If you're doing some like high intensity intervals, for instance, then that's going to have a much better effect on your body. But if you're doing like more of a steady state, kind of a lower intensity, maybe working in what you'll see on the treadmill as your fat burning zone, which for is another subject altogether, then you're not going to get the great result in terms of fat loss. Now, steady state cardio actually increases your stress hormone level. Cortisol level. Okay, cortisol, which we're going to speak about in part 2 of this seminar, is actually one of the major factors when it comes to belly fat. Now, in addition to that, if you are overweight and you've got poor biomechanics, i.e., your joints aren't perfectly made up, okay, then pounding up and down on the pavements isn't going to do you an awful lot of good. You may well have done it before if you've gone out, started running, and suddenly, a couple of weeks later, you're back on the sofa with some ice on your knees or your ankles because your joints are aching that much because at the minute you're just not designed to run. Okay, that's not to say you can never do any running, but as I said, you don't need to if you don't like it. But at the same time, it's one of those things that you got quite a big risk of getting injured if you're already carrying quite a bit of excess weight. So it's one of the reasons that we actually generally steer away from running. I'll actually never never actually give anyone a running program who doesn't want to do any running. Okay, so generally most of my clients don't actually ever do any running. We don't do any running at fitness camp. Nothing like that. I said I don't go running with my clients because, to be honest, why would someone pay me a load of money to go out running with them? I wouldn't take it, Anyway, in a nutshell, it takes far too long, and it's generally, pretty inefficient. Again, if you're doing things like high intensity intervals, then running's going to be, it can be a hell of a lot better. Okay, now as I said, don't get me wrong. Personally, I really do like running. It's my chosen sport involves a fair bit of run training, so I love it. But the bottom line is, a lot of people don't like it. It's not the best for fat loss. So if you don't like it, don't do it. You're going to actually do something that works. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a bit. Next thing is, if your nutrition isn't right, you're not going to have lost the weight up to now. Okay, the nutrition is probably the biggest thing. Okay, if you had the best I could give you the best training program in the world. Okay, or something, a trainer could give you the best program in the world, but if your nutrition's not right, you're not actually going to get the result. Now, the things I've actually written down there are actually, really kind of common things which I'll find in people's food diaries, or when someone will actually speak to me, either at fitness camp or before they start fitness camp, or before they start training with me, privately. And some of these things include having not enough protein in your diet. If you're not getting enough protein in your diet, that's going to have all sorts of impact on your metabolism there. Okay, you basically need, in particular, particular protein to actually rebuild your muscles. So if you're doing any sort of exercise, you're actually going to be breaking down your muscles. You need the protein in there, so frequent hits to actually allow your muscles to build back up nice and strong and a little bit bigger, so that you can actually get that metabolism booming. If you're eating the wrong types of carbohydrate at the wrong times, then that's going to have all sorts of effects on your insulin levels in particular, which is either going to lead to you being a fat storing zone, or if you're getting it right, you can actually turn yourself into a fat burning zone, okay, with your carbohydrate timing. If you're eating loads of processed food at the minute, or even I don't know, if maybe 25% of your diet, I guess, is kind of consistent of processed food, then that's going to have a big impact on your body. If you're eating sort of foods that's got loads of toxins and chemicals in there, then that's actually your liver's actually not going to be thanking you for that right now, and it's not actually going to be able to process them. And instead, a lot of the time, these toxins are actually going to get stored within your fat stores, along with a pile of excess water, which you don't need in there, because your body's solution to pollution is dilution, interestingly enough. All right. One of the big ones is people can't, or rather won't, cut out certain things. If you have a so-called addiction or whatever, if you always seem to eat things like chocolate and cakes and crisps, and you simply say you can't cut them out, well, more like you won't cut them out, then you're not going to get the results. And if you've been kind of kidding yourself up to now, saying that you're eating healthy, but you'll allow yourself a treat every day or every couple of days of a Mars bar or whatever, then I'm sorry, but you're not going to get the results. Food is actually a stress on your body, so when you eat, you actually do stress your body, which is fine. You need to eat, and eating's great, but food is actually stressing your body. Now, the wrong foods are going to have a massively kind of stressful impact on your body, and actually, like we spoke about a little bit just quickly on your liver, your body's actually not going to deal with these kind of toxic and really high sugar foods. It's not going to deal with those foods very well, so it's actually going to get really stressed and not actually like that at all. Comfort eating, that's another big one as well. It's something that we all do. You know what? I ain't not going to lie to you. I do a little bit of this every now and again. You know the exact feeling if you've had a crap day at work or something. You come back, you're not feeling too great, and you get Ben and Jerry out of the freezer and sort of take them out to bed with you. Or maybe you want to treat yourself because you're feeling happy or so, and you think, oh, right, I deserve this. So you pop down to Domino's and get yourself a pizza, or maybe it's a Friday night, so you got all every Friday night you've got a routine where you go down to Chinese, and I can't possibly change that. So you go and nail that. You might be a weekend wimp, or a Monday to Saturday type of person, So Monday to Friday, your diet might be great, but when the weekend comes, straight away your diet goes to pot. Now, if that's going to happen, then you've done great during the week, but you've just wrecked it as soon as the weekend comes, which means that as soon as Monday comes, you're still probably feeling a little bit rubbish, and you've pretty much undone most of the work that you did by eating well in the 5 days leading up to the weekend, So a lot of the time I'll actually start programs on a Friday so that we actually get a weekend out of the way first off. Okay, I think that's quite a good way to do it a lot of the time. Failing to prepare. Now, if you're not actually sort of planning out your nutrition, your meals, and you're not actually sort of knowing what it is that you're going to eat during the week and preparing your food and whatever else, then chances are you're actually going to fail on your nutritional program. It's a great idea to actually plan out your meals. Just write down on your fridge or whatever. Write down what you're going to eat, breakfast, lunch and dinner for 7 days, chuck it on your fridge, and then you know exactly what you need to go and buy for the shopping, and you know what you need to make the next day. If you're prepared like that, then you can know that, if you've got a busy lunchtime, or maybe a Tuesday, that on Monday night, if you cook, you can cook yourself a pile of extra, roasted veggies and some baked chicken or something. You can cook yourself extra so that you can just take that to work the next day and have that for lunch. Okay, people always say to me, Andy, what the hell can I have for lunch? It takes too long. It doesn't take too long. If two evenings a week you cook too much food so that you can take it for lunch the next day, then that's 2 lunches sorted out of 5. Then you've got a couple of days, maybe you'll take like a massive salad in, and then maybe another day or two you'll have like a big thing of soup. If you make up a big batch of soup at the start of the week, you're sorted. Lunch is not a toughie. All right, it's just about being prepared. Big one. All right, cool. Cooking multiple meals. This is a big one, especially for the mums out there. Okay, a lot of the mums that I train, obviously, a lot of the time they're cooking multiple meals because they're following one nutritional program. Their fella doesn't want to do that because he likes his pies and his pasties, and he'd rather have that with some chips as opposed to like meat and veg or whatever. And then you got child A who's allergic to X food, and then you got child B who doesn't like Y food. Okay, so you end up cooking a pile of different meals. So that's an absolute bummer. So I know that really is something that people do struggle with. Okay, you most probably tried various diets up to now as well. You probably tried calorie counting, which we spoke about, maybe coloured days and I don't know, liquid diets and skinny shakes and all that sort of crap. But right now, nothing's actually hit the spot for you. Getting your nutrition right is so crucial to getting in shape. And basically, we'll look at what's called the hierarchy of fat loss in part 2 of this seminar. But nutrition is 100% key. Another reason maybe your nutrition hasn't gone to plan so far is that you're actually bored. All right, you may well be bored of counting calories, point scoring, weighing food, measuring food. You're probably bored if you've done a really kind of look to do what you would think is kind of a clean diet and you've just actually been eating chicken and veg every night. Then I'm not surprised if you get bored doing something like that. It's easy to think that, right, if I'm cutting out all this rubbish, all I've got to eat is chicken and broccoli, but if you're doing that, you're going to get bored as hell. There's so much food out there you can eat while having positive impacts on your body without eating all the junk out there. Okay, you don't have to get bored. Okay, so one of the biggest things to do is make sure that your nutrition is varied. Okay, which is again one of the reasons why it's such a good idea to actually plan out your nutrition. So look, we're halfway through the seminar now, so what I'm going to do is end this one here. So hopefully you can take in everything that we've gone through so far, and I'll hit you very soon with part 2. Take care.